Hey guys, welcome to this video in our DevOps course. In this video, we're going to focus on the cloud and where our application actually resides, because eventually this is where our deployment will happen. So, uh, first of all, in the last video, we created this small application, right? So we wrote some code, and what this code does is it creates a simple website. Uh, Nothing too fancy or anything like that. But in order for us to actually run this website, we need some kind of hardware. So we wrote the code, but the application itself needs something to be ran on, a process, right? Some kind of hardware to be ran on. And when I want to deploy it on my computer, I press F5, right? So what happens now is that Docker now will provide this application with everything it needs from my computer, right? So right now, my computer is being the host of this web page. So this web page is using my computer power to host this site, right? But when we are creating a website for a customer, for example, we are not going to give the customer our computer, right? So we need to put the code somewhere where, well, either on the customer's computer or another computer, and this is usually called a server, right? Uh, what a server is, basically, a server is a computer that's main job is to stay active and be able to handle requests from this server. And we are going to look at different ways how we can deploy different kinds of servers. So uh, we need some kind of hardware, and the cloud provides this for us. So what is the cloud, right? So the term cloud in the context of computing refers to a system of servers that store data, right? And other things on internet rather than a local computer. Essentially, when you use cloud services, you're accessing or storing data and applications online. What this allows is easy access from any device. It doesn't matter if we're using our computer or our phone. As long as we connect it to the internet, we can access the cloud. Uh, Now, the cloud is again, it's kind of hardware on demand, right? So the cloud is kind of big data centers owned by Azure or AWS or Google, and what these data center contains are huge racks of computers, and we can rent these computers instead of buying our own computers, right? So a cloud provider, Azure, is a company that offers cloud-based infrastructure, platforms, and other kind of software services, right? And these services can range from raw computing power, let's say virtual machines, to, let's say, advanced machine learning platforms. So the the cloud providers manage and maintain the physical hardware and allows us, the users, to interact with the hardware without having to worry about how to set up a server, how to connect a hardware, or how to increase the RAM, for example. We don't have to bother with the hardware. And there are different kinds of providers, like you have AWS, you have Azure, you have Google Cloud Platform. These are the three giants, right? But then you still have IBM, you have DigitalOcean, you have Firebase. There are many different cloud providers, and we're going to use Azure in this course. So, to be able to start using Azure, we need to navigate to their website. So we go portal.azure.com. And the first thing you might be greeted with is with sign in. So what you do is you have to of course sign in to Azure, and what you do is you're gonna use your credentials that has been given to you by ETHXQulan. So the username and the password that was given to you, this is what you would use to sign in. Now this is the dashboard, and our dashboard might look a bit different. So let's change that. The first thing you might notice is that your dashboard might be in Swedish, and that's fine. I don't recommend it being in Swedish, because if you ever run into any problem, you're gonna do the Google search and not everything is named the same. And in order to change the language, you press this settings wheel up on the top after you signed in, and then you go to language and region, and then you do language English. Now, what we need in this tutorial course is we don't need very much from Azure, right? And basically, what we want to do is we want to host our web server or our website in Azure on the cloud instead of on our local computer. But before I do that, I'm gonna do a quick tutorial of Azure service, an Azure service. If you want to learn more about Azure, there's videos linked, and you can also apply to my Azure course that will start on Ithögskolan next month, I think, where I will go more in depth in what Azure is as a tool, right? Because unfortunately, we don't have time to cover uh, all the all the tools once again in this short course. So if you want to learn more about Azure, either apply to that course or watch the videos that I linked. So one of the most popular services in Azure is this thing called App Service. This is basically used to host many different things, right? A website is one of those things. And how you get started is basically you press the App Service over here, or you can search in this search bar, App Service, or you can press this hamburger menu to the left and you can find app service. So we want to create a new app service to demonstrate the power of Azure. We're going to press create and we're going to press web app. Then Azure is going to ask us some questions because it needs to know what kind of hardware we need and what kind of, well, what kind of application we are creating. In all Azure things you do, you always need something called a resource group, and a resource group is kind of a folder where you keep everything neat and clean. We're going to create a new one. I'm going to call this my Python website, right, like so. Then I need to give my app service a name. This needs to be a unique name. This is where my website will reside. So let's call this Python Flask website. It needs to be unique, so I have to come up with a stupid name, right? For this example, we're going to say publishing method is going to be code. In the future, we're going to use Docker container because we are playing around with Docker. But for now, I'm just going to use code for me to demonstrate for you what's actually happening. We need to select the runtime stack, and here I'm going to use .NET. It doesn't really matter for this use case because it's only a demonstration. For our Flask application, we would want to use Python because it's a Flask application, right? So we can go down here and choose Python, but there are different kinds of runtimes. I'm going to choose a .NET for this demonstration. And then we can choose what operating system do we want our app service to be. Well, we have Windows and Linux to choose between. Windows is a bit more easier to work with, is more user friendly, so we're going to use Windows, though it costs a bit more and it takes a bit more space. Then we need to choose a region, and you cannot really choose whatever region you want. The region is basically where do you want this program to lay? Do you want it to be in Europe? In which data center? Because Azure have a lot of data centers all over the world. So you need to choose in which of these data centers do you want your application to be. And the general rule of thumb is basically uh, where are your customers? The closer you want to be as close as possible to your customers. So if you're running a Swedish based company and all your customers are in Swedish, you would want to choose a region close to Sweden or Sweden. Now let's say you're a company in Sweden, but you notice that the majority of your customers are from America, right? Well, then you would want to use North America so that they can connect to it faster. But for this example, we're going to use West Europe. And you guys can only choose either West or North Europe. All other regions should be locked, right? So you have to choose either West Europe or North Europe. I recommend just choosing West Europe all the time. Then we need to provide an app service plan. This is kind of what it will cost us. Under this resource, we will find the budget and our computer power. This is more or less the hardware behind everything. So we need to let's create a new one. I'm going to call it website app service. And now I need to choose what kind of hardware I want. Well, the hardware I want is we can press explore, and then we can see all the offerings that exist. So we have some different categories of hardware. We have popular option, dev test. So this is good if you're developing for yourself or for a friend or just testing. This is for production. So if you have a customer, then you're going to want to use a production tier computer. And then you have isolated. These are isolated computers. Like they are kind of their own data center. This is only for customer that needs very secure programs. This is not us right now. What we want to do is we can do dev test and we can choose free F1. I don't think all of you can choose free F1 because you only have a limited free tiers per subscription. If you can't, you will choose the cheapest one on the list, right? So this free F1, it comes with 60 minutes compute time. We get 1 GB memory. We get some remote storage. We cannot scale it out. We don't have any service level agreement. Like there is no guarantee on the uptime. Again, more on these things in my Azure course. Anyways, you see it's free, right? Free. And then you have this costs $9 per month. This costs $54, $73, 156, 272. There's a lot of different computers, and it's really important that you guys don't fuck up here, right? Do not play around with this. You are not allowed to choose an isolated computer. You are not allowed to choose a premium computer. Do you see these prices? They are ridiculous, right? So you shouldn't take any of these. Maximum is $73. You cannot go above this. If any one of you go above this, I'm going to consider it very immature, and I'm going to have a hard time trusting you with this, because in the end it's going to be IT Högskolan that pays for this, and it's really important, especially as DevOps developers, that we don't overspend, right? So be careful on what you choose. Do not play around. Do not go for what is the standard that Azure will provide you. Always double check and do not start anything if you are unsure, right? This is not a playground. This is real actual hardware that costs a lot of money. Anyways, I'm gonna continue. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use the free F1, and I'm gonna press select. And then I'm going to press review and create. And I'm going to create this application or this web app. So right now, what's happening is that I am asking Azure to create or to delegate or locate some hardware in the West Europe data center for me to be able to deploy my application onto it, so that my computer don't have to run it. Because again, I kind of want to use my computer for different things. I don't want to have Docker running all the time, right? So this frees up my computer and it moves my application to the cloud. It seems like everything is finished, and now we can go visit our resource group, and you can do it from here, or you can press here, or you can go back to the dashboard here. If you're on the dashboard here, you're going to press resource groups, and then it should be under your resource or subscription name. I have different subscription names. I called it something Python, I think. Yeah, Python website. So this is my resource group. I press it, and then three three different thing, three different resources were created here. All these resources are kind of used to run my website. One is called Application Insight. This gives us monitoring availabilities to check how our website is doing and what kind of problems we are facing or our customers are facing. Then we have the app service. This is more or less where your code will reside. This is where you access your code and do deployments and things like that. And then we have something called the app service plan. The app service plan is the actual hardware behind everything, right? This is where we go if we want to scale up our application, or scale down, or scale out, or scale in. So basically, this is analytics. This is the website. This is the hardware. In order for us to visit our website, we can press this browse, and then we will see. Very shortly, we will see our website. The first time takes a little bit of time because, again, it has to locate everything, install the programs, and actually deploy a website onto this. There we go. Din webb app körs förväntas på ditt innehåll. So basically, this is a sign that everything is working, our infrastructure is up and running. And to demonstrate this, I can actually go and edit this code immediately. So right now you see it says din webb app körs och väntar på ditt innehåll. What I can do is, again, this is the web app, the app service resource. And in this app service resource, I have many things I can do. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. If you want more knowledge or deeper knowledge, you can check the previous videos in week 1, or join or apply to my Azure course starting next month. Anyways, we're gonna scroll down to App Service Editor. This is not something I recommend you guys to be doing, by the way. This is super cowboy coding. It's just a quick way for me to demonstrate that I could easily just edit the code straight here. So this is the code. This is your web app is running and waiting for your content. Din web app körs och väntar på ditt innehåll. This is in English. My browser translates it to Swedish, right? So let's change this here, and let's go potato. This is an app service. And I don't even have to press save or anything. This app service editor, I don't recommend anybody to using it. You should never use it. If you go here and I just refresh, it should very soon, let's see. It should update it. So it doesn't really want to update on the Chrome, because probably I have it cached, or I have some setting that makes it, I don't know. It doesn't want to work with me. Anyways, if I open the same web page in Edge, this is the address. You can now see potato. This is an app service, so it works. It just probably will take my Chrome a couple of seconds to react to it, or it's doing something weird in the background. But you see, it works, right? So it's quite easy to manipulate the code. This is not how we will go about it, but it's just a demonstration that now we actually do have a website and we can actually edit the code. And it was fairly simple. It was just a few clicks, right? I didn't have to go and buy a computer. I didn't have to make my computer available, open up ports so you could visit it. No, I just went to the Azure portal. I did a couple of clicks, and now I actually have a server serving my website. Another cool thing you can do in Azure. So another thing before I continue is that whenever you're finished with playing around with whatever you're doing, it's really important that you delete everything that you just made, because again, you are using this in learning purposes, and we don't want anything to stay up and running more than possible, because for every minute we're up and running, it costs the school money. So every time you're finished with the demonstration, for example, I'm finished with this demonstration, you need to delete the entire resource group. So go to the resource group, Python website, delete resource group. You need to copy that name, and you need to put the name down here, and you need to press delete, and you press delete. And when you're finished with deleting, now you can move on to create something else. Again, I repeat, it's really important that you guys take this seriously. Waste, do not waste money. And I don't have time to be administrating this 24/7. So please, 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 again, take Azure really, really serious. If you're not comfortable with Azure, if you do not understand what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it at all. Anyways, another thing you can do with Azure is you can create a virtual machine quite easily. I'm not going to go in depth to this. I'm going to create a super basic virtual machine that we can play around with. So I press create a virtual machine, and then I select the subscription. I create a new resource group. I call this my virtual machine, for example. We're going to give it a name, my machine. We're going to give it a region. Again, we need to have West Europe. Availability zone, we're going to choose no infrastructure redundancy required because we don't really care about redundancy right now. We don't need to have any security. We're going to go standard, as cheap as possible. And for the image, right, what operating system do we want to have? We're gonna go with Windows Service 2019 data center. We're not gonna change anything here. The size here, we can leave it. I'm gonna leave it for now because again, this is only a demonstration, so I'm gonna leave it at this. But again, you can see all the sizes and all the prices if you press see size. And now I have created this $40. Now I need to make an administrator account in order for me to actually log in to this virtual machine. So what is a virtual machine? A virtual machine is basically a computer somewhere else. So basically I'm creating a new computer that I can access from my computer. So the username, I'm gonna do Kakashi because this is my nickname. You should choose whatever username you want. And for the password, you see the password needs to be 12, at least 12 characters long. And I'm gonna do something. There we go. I'm gonna write it down just so I don't forget it. Then we need to open up some ports, and RDP is enough because we're going to connect using RDP, which is Remote Desktop Protocol. And then we can just press review and create. Again, we're not going to go in depth in any of these. I just want in this video I just want to show you kind of what a server is and the power of Azure. So this is now a virtual machine. So this is another place where we could actually store the client's application, right? So let's say this website we created was actually we had a millionaire that's paying us 100,000 euros for a very cool profile page, right? And well, we need to deploy this website. What we can do is we can press F5 and it will be running all the time. Well, we need to set up some other things, of course. But basically, our computer could host this, right? But again, we want to use our computer for different things. So we could create a virtual machine, which technically is a computer, download this code from GitHub, install Docker and all the things we need, press F5 on that computer, and now our application is running, right? So the first step the first step to make that happen is to create a virtual machine. And now I'm creating a virtual machine. It's gonna take some time. I'm gonna go to the resource group for now, and I'm gonna wait for it. And now I see that my virtual machine is up and running. In order for me to connect to this virtual machine, I can press the resource. I can press the connect button, and then I have this thing called native RDP. If I press it, select, it's going to ask me to download a file called RDP file. If I download this, press this file, now I'm going to be prompted with this window. I press connect here. It asks me to sign in. Now I need to change the username because my username is not Robin Kamo for this virtual machine. It's Kakashi. So I need to press more choices and use a different account. And here I put in my username and I put in my password and I press OK. And now I need to accept the certificate. And now you guys will see a virtual machine being created in my computer. So right now what's happening is Azure has allocated the necessary resource to create a computer, a desktop, right? So in a second over here, you will see what Windows. There we go. the computer is starting up. I'm gonna go full screen here, and now you can see it's as any other Windows computer. I have my start. I can go on the web. We're gonna give it a couple of seconds for it to load up. And again, this is not my computer. This is a window that's running currently on my computer. You see, I can move this window in the background. This is my computer. This is my my web page. So if you search my IP address, you're gonna get my IP address. This is not my computer. I am connected to this computer via my computer using the internet. So to demonstrate, I can use Edge here, like you, like it's my computer. I could possibly go to, let's say, start without your data, confirm and continue, confirm and start browsing. Let's say www.github.com, and I could go here. I could search Kakashi Duta, which is my username on GitHub, by the way. Feel free to follow me. And then I could go to repositories, and I could actually download this repository to this computer. Now, it won't work straight out of the box, but you get the gist of it, right? Here's the website. Here's the file and everything I need to run the website. Now I still need to download Docker, I need to download Visual Studio, etc. But hopefully you see the power of this, right? So again, all the software we create needs some kind of hardware to reside. And the application we created in Visual Studio Code, before VS Code for short, uh, can now be deployed upon up to the cloud. And there's kind of different ways to do this deployment. One is doing it via Azure. One is doing it from Visual Studio Code. Again, there's many different ways. But in this video, I'm not going to cover it. I just wanted to show you guys and try to explain more to you guys about the software development process, all the different parts. Let me pull up the low. So again, so this is kind of the entire software life cycle, right? So the first thing we do is when we get a customer, when a customer asks us to make something, let's say a website, a web shop, for example, right? The first thing is we need to plan, right? So we need to make a plan and we need to understand what we are creating, how we will create it, in which priority, etc. As soon as we have a plan set and is accepted by the client, we start coding. And the code part we've kind of already covered, right? So this is the code part, very simple application. Then uh, we could skip all of these parts, but when the code part is done, again, we need somewhere to deploy the code, and this is where operate comes to the picture, right? We need some kind of hardware. So right now, so far, we've covered the code part. We started here. On the Tuesday in week 2, we're going to talk about the planning part. But basically, we've done this part by creating the software, and now we've done this part by creating a virtual machine and an app service. So we will look at the different parts in different order because again, we could skip the build part, the test part, and just go from code to operate. Uh, we we won't do it. We will go through all these parts, but I think it's much easier to explain and to understand if I do it this way. It becomes less abstract, right? So we've done the coding part, and now we've done the operating part. Well, we understand the coding part. So the coding part is you create some kind of software. The operating part is okay, we create some kind of infrastructure for our code to run on. Okay. Uh, so this concludes this video. Uh, I hope you guys learned a couple of a thing or two. Again, when it comes to Azure, I emphasize this a lot because it can actually cost a lot of money, and I really don't want to end up in that scenario where I have to pay Azure a lot because somebody was lazy or did not listen to instructions very well. If you're not comfortable in Azure, you should not do it on your own. You could wait to a handledningspass, or you could ask me on Discord and I can guide you through the process. Do not play around with Azure if you are not feeling comfortable and have understanding of what it is. Anyways, thank you guys so much for this video. This is going to be labeled as video number 3. Uh, and the next video is going to be about the plan phase.